Hi there. My name is Jeremy Geerdes, and I'm the president of the Lower Beaver Neighborhood Association. I wanted to take a moment today to discuss with you an item which our leadership team has been working diligently on over the last several months, and which will be coming up at our annual meeting on February 19th. Namely, I want to talk to you today about a comprehensive update of our association's bylaws. The LBNA's bylaws establish the most basic framework for our association's management and operation. And for over 2 decades, we have been governed by a set of bylaws which were originally drafted by our founding members. This document has served us exceptionally well. And over the years, we've had to make only a very small number of changes, all of which focused on very specific issues that we needed to address. We truly owe a tremendous debt to those who founded our association and whose diligence and foresight gifted us with such tremendous governing documents. Even so, over the years, numerous things have changed in our neighborhood and in our world. Therefore, at the encouragement of the City of Des Moines' Neighborhood Services Division, our leadership team recently undertook the task of reviewing and updating our bylaws to better serve the LBNA well into the future. And today, I'm going to walk us through a comparison of the old and the new bylaws and explain the changes. Now, right out of the gate, I would like to express a note of thanks to Heather Taminga in the city's Neighborhood Services Division. For the last 2 years, Heather has been providing tremendous resources to neighborhood associations like ours all across the city. And this includes a template for modern bylaws, which we were able to take and use as the starting point for our work. That said, as you compare the two documents side by side, you will immediately notice some changes in formatting and organizations between the old and the new bylaws. This can be disorienting at first. So as we go, I will try to help point out where everything went. Right away, you will notice that Article 1, Name, and Article 3, Boundaries, from the original document have been combined as part of the new bylaws, Article 1. They're in Sections 1 and 2 respectively. There is no substantial change in either of these sections, but you will notice that the new Article 1 also includes sections allowing the Board of Directors to determine both principal and registered offices. These sections are included to allow the Board of Directors to specify where people should send the mail. In the original bylaws, Article 2 declared that the purpose of the association is to enhance the quality of life in the Lower Beaver neighborhood of Des Moines, Iowa. This is certainly an adequate purpose statement. But in 2011, our association invested a lot of time and energy in the city's neighborhood revitalization program, culminating in the LBNA becoming a recognized neighborhood with the City of Des Moines. As part of this process, we fleshed out our purpose statement and identified 6 priorities which continue to guide our association today. Therefore, we included this newer statement in the updated bylaws. You will also notice that the new Article 2 introduces some legalese in the form of Section 2, restrictions. Again, this is included as a best practice sort of thing, which makes clear that local and state laws supersede any bylaws or policies that we may come up with for the association. Next up, the original document's Article 4, Membership, has become the new bylaws Article 3, Membership. Here you will find one of the more substantive changes we have made in the form of a new membership structure. The original bylaws provided only for individual membership. However, somewhere along the line, before my time, it was decided that a single membership fee would apply to an entire household. Unfortunately, nobody ever went back to update the bylaws and make clear who in the household could vote. This has introduced the possibility that a single membership may cover 3, 5, or even 10 people who are over 18 and just happen to live in the same home. To help clarify this, we have adopted a membership structure which is similar to that used by other neighborhood associations here in Des Moines and across the nation. Namely, going forward, we will offer the option of individual membership or household membership. Individual membership is exactly as it sounds. One person, at least 18 years of age, living in the neighborhood gets one vote. Household membership will allow up to 2 primary householders. That's basically the people who pay the bills to cast votes in association business. Additionally, we are adding business and community organization memberships. Each of these members will be afforded 1 vote when we come to annual meetings and other votes of the membership. The major difference between these and the individual or household memberships is that businesses and community organizations can't hold offices in the association. Comparing the 2 documents side by side, you will also notice that the new document includes an Article 4 regarding dues. This is boilerplate text that basically states that the board of directors can set the price of dues, and if you don't pay your dues, your membership will expire. Essentially, that's what we've been doing already for the last 20 plus years. Next, Article 5 in the original bylaws remains essentially Article 5 in the updated bylaws. While there is some reorganization and some updated language and such, there are really only 2 major changes between the old and the new. First, we have removed Article 5, Section 6, which required a minimum of 15 voting members to be present at any general meeting in order to conduct business. We have worked hard over the last several years to consolidate all of the important business that required votes and such into a single annual meeting. And to be perfectly frank, there have been times over the last few years where we would have been hard pressed to actually accomplish anything if we were required to have 15 members to vote. Second, the new bylaws introduce a provision allowing remote participation in our general meetings. The importance of this was discovered during COVID, when our bylaws essentially prevented us from doing anything because we couldn't meet in person and people couldn't vote remotely. It is important to note that this allows remote participation, but it doesn't require it. This is important because we're still working on how we can implement this provision. Article 6 in the original bylaws concerning the board of directors moves directly over to Article 6 in the new. The updated bylaws require that board members and officers must reside in the neighborhood. In addition to these changes, the updated Article 6 also includes a conflict of interest statement and a section that enables us to remove directors and officers who misbehave. These sections are, again, examples of best practices which have been adopted by neighborhood associations across the country and which we now incorporate into our bylaws as well. Articles 7, 8, and 9 in the original bylaws, there are 2 major changes between the documents. First, Article 8 has been fleshed out a bit more with some boilerplate, best practice text. This does include one substantive change in that the original bylaws prohibited the president from serving on the nominating committee, but the new bylaws actually require that either the president or the vice president must serve. The intention here is that the officer who is not up for election will be able to provide unbiased leadership to the nominating committee. Second, nominations must now go through the nominating committee unless there is a unanimous vote to allow nominations from the floor. The reasoning behind this change is A, to streamline the elections process at our annual meetings, and B, to protect the association by ensuring that the people elected to our leadership team are properly vetted. Article 10 from the original bylaws concerns finances and reports. It is broken into Articles 10 and 11 in the updated bylaws, but everything is essentially there. Article 11, approval and amendment of bylaws, is moved to Article 14, and two changes are introduced. Number one, proposed amendments must be provided to the membership at least 14 days in advance instead of 7 under the original bylaws. And second, amending the bylaws will require only a simple majority vote rather than 60% as required in the original. In the original bylaws, Article 12 was included to prohibit the association from endorsing any political candidates and to stipulate that we will move to become a formally recognized neighborhood within the city of Des Moines. The first of these is now mandated by our 501c3 status with the IRS, and the second has been a reality since 2011, and we have no intention of changing that. Therefore, there is no need for this article in the updated document, and it has been removed. Finally, Article 13, dissolution, remains Article 13 in the updated bylaws. In the original document, a 60% vote of the general membership could dissolve the association, and assets would be donated to another neighborhood association or nonprofit agency. The new bylaws follow national best practices by requiring that a majority of the board of directors vote to dissolve the association, and stipulating that any remaining assets be distributed according to local and state regulations or the association's articles of incorporation. Now, clearly, there have been a lot of changes made in this update. These changes are the result of months of work by our leadership team and extensive consultation with Heather Taminga at the City of Des Moines Neighborhood Services Division. Most of these changes have been relatively small. Shuffle a few things here, reword a couple of things there, add in something that was missing, remove something that wasn't needed anymore. But there are also a handful of more significant amendments that we hope you will give careful consideration to. In the end, it is the hope of the officers and board of directors that this updated bylaws will enable the Lower Beaver Neighborhood Association to thrive well into the future. Thanks for joining me today for this overview of the proposed updates to the Lower Beaver Neighborhood Association's bylaws. We'll be discussing and deciding on these updates at our upcoming annual meeting on February 19th. The meeting will be held at Polk County River Place, that's at 2309 Euclid Avenue, and it will start at 6:30 with a potluck dinner. Actual business will commence at 7 o'clock, and we have a number of other things that we're going to be discussing and doing as well. So I hope that you'll be able to join us. Until then, we'll see you next time.